So today, we are going to take a look at a lump sum study and measure the cash value efficiency. In other words, I've got a lump sum of $1 million, and how do I maximize the cash value in a whole life insurance policy, being that it is a safe, liquid, and tax-free area to position funds. Tax-free if I don't trigger a MEC or other taxable events. So this case study is going to be a little bit interesting as we're going to look at a Guardian product that allows a first-year PUA payment of up to 50x whatever the base premium is, which this was not always available. This was actually a change Guardian made, or they open up the PUA limitations as a result of the recent 7702 update when they updated their product portfolio. So we're going to study this because we've gotten a lot of questions about this recently as far as 50xing the base premium in PUAs. So typically, when it comes to policy design, if you're saying, hey, what does it mean to 50x the base premium in PUA payments? When we design a policy, say you're going to pay in $100,000 per year total. You're interested in a whole life insurance policy primarily for the cash value. If you're going to pay any dollar amount into the policy, assume $100,000 in this example, your money can go toward one of two areas: the premium or the PUA, which stands for Paid Up Additions Rider. Premium dollars, regarding your cash value, do not show up in cash value often in the first and second year. In the example we're going to study today, they do not show up in cash value in the first year. Beginning the second year, if your premium was $10,000, like we have in this example, you would see beginning year two that $10,000 comes back to cash value for you, begins to earn dividends, and gets better and better as time passes. However, in the first year, that $10,000 does not show up in cash value. And the main reason why is that the insurance company, the way I like to explain it, is overcharging us for the cost of insurance or death benefit up front. PUA dollars show up in cash value right off the bat. There are PUA fees. So if my PUA payment is $100,000, I might see between $92,000 and $95,000 show up in cash value in the first year, and then the compounding begins to exceed the fees beginning year two. We're very close. You'll see that as we go through the numbers here. But this guy is really the key to maximizing the cash value on a whole life insurance policy, optimizing it from start to finish, especially when we look at the guaranteed values. Now, it does get you some death benefit, but typically it is a very small amount relative to what the premium can purchase us. So a question we get often is, hey, thanks for going through that, Steve. How do I put 0% of my payment into the premium and everything into the paid up additions rider? Which would be sweet. However, we cannot go quite that low. What you'll find with many of the major mutual companies is we can typically drive that minimum premium as low as 10%. Some companies are about 9%, like Guardian, on an annual basis. Mass Mutual's a clean 10%. I use this just for a basic educational platform, 1090, with the major mutuals. Now, as a result of the recent change, and we cover this in more detail in our All About Guardian video with respect to their premium and PUA limits, but what they did differently is in the first year, now we can pay 50x the base premium and PUAs. So what we could do, if we go back to this model here, is if $100,000 was your number, you could literally pay the $100,000 in with a $2,000 minimum premium and throw the other $98,000 into PUAs, which would give you a very cash-rich policy right off the bat. The thing to be aware of, though, is if we look at Guardian's language here, it's 50x in year one, and then years two onward is only 10x. So you're going to see from a design standpoint, if I want to do something like this, $100,000 in, $2,000 base premium, $98,000 in the first year for a total of $100K, what would happen beginning year two? Well, I would have initially started this policy with a $100,000 MEC limit, which, what sets the MEC limit? Total death benefit on a policy, which does come at a cost. But I set my MEC limit at $100K, but now the maximum I can pay in each year is approximately $20,000 per year beginning the second year, because the maximum limit from year 2 onward, if a 1-year term rider is attached, is 10x the base premium, as far as the maximum I can illustrate going into the policy each year. Once that term rider falls off, the maximum I can illustrate is only 3x the base premium. So I've got to be aware of the limits, and different companies have different limits and such. I know it's a bit technical there. Let's progress on as we get to the numbers here. Here's a question that comes up quite a bit. If I give you $1 million and I throw it into this whole life insurance policy, maybe you look at this and say, hey, I'm looking at 100,000, maybe it's 10 million, whatever the dollar figure is. Will I earn that 5.65% right off the bat? The answer is no. I should rephrase, the answer is I wish, but the factual answer is no. The reason why is anytime we say dividend rate, that is a gross rate that is credited after the company's insurance expenses, everything that comes with the actual life insurance policy. If you are wondering or asking, hey, if I put $1 million in, what does it actually grow by? Like, just give me the net growth rate. The terminology to ask for this complies with the life insurance industry is IRR, which stands for internal rate of return. The net growth rate, I like to look at the annual IRR and also the average. We're going to look at both. So what we're going to look at here are 2 options. Option A, we're going to look at a one-time lump sum. I give you $1 million, 50-year-old male, one-time payment into the policy. We're going to utilize that 50x base premium limitation. So of the million, $20,000 base premium, $980,000 in the PUAs. We're going to maximize the cash value. What I'll add, this 50x limitation Guardian has recently opened up was really designed for MEC policies. So Guardian and most life insurance companies used to offer single premium whole life insurance products. That's not really available. Some companies do, but it's very hard to find that nowadays. This is a great way to mimic a single premium whole life insurance product. One-time payment, I've got rich cash value. It is a MEC. The cash value continues to appreciate. I've got a death benefit. And with a MEC policy, death benefit proceeds are paid out income tax-free. Now you can do it with a non-MEC. If you really set that death benefit high, we're going to show you that. But the question is, option A, with a non-MEC policy, can this potentially make sense? Option B, what we will look at is taking that $1 million and spreading it out over 4 payments. We could do it over 3. I like to shoot things a little bit more conservative, just keeping in mind what the guaranteed values will look like as well. And 4 payments in that case makes a little bit more sense. So this will look more like of $250,000 per year going in. We've got about a $25,000 base premium, $225,000 toward PUAs for the total of $250K for 4 years, nothing thereafter. I'll add with both of these examples, if he decides, can I keep paying more money in after the fact? The answer would be yes. So before we look at the numbers, MEC limit I want to touch on here, because this is important. What has a direct relationship to the MEC limit on a life insurance policy? It's our age and total death benefit. So the death benefit is the measuring stick that the IRS really uses to determine if a life insurance policy will be viewed as life insurance or a pure modified endowment contract. And I have to deal with taxes if I want to access the cash value. So what we looked at here is I put 200. What I meant to put was $250,000. We're going to look at a policy with a $250,000 MEC limit, the minimum amount of life insurance needed to attain that. And then also a policy with a $1 million MEC limit. What's the minimum death benefit needed to attain a $1 million MEC limit? To attain this, we do need a very large term rider attached. It has to be quite large. We're going to look at illustrations as well. But we're going to look at both of those examples. And then lastly, we're going to look at a MEC policy as well, which does not require a term rider because we're MECing it out. We just want maximum cash value. This way we can see the difference between the MEC option and non-MEC option. Shall we look at numbers? Let's have some fun. So 3 options we've got here. And I don't want to spend too much time on the example on the far left because this is a MEC option. No term rider attached, just minimum base premium, 50x the base. Cash value looks good because there's minimal drag here, But if we want to access the cash value, we do have to deal with taxes. The death benefit, however, is paid out income tax-free. There are occasions where modified endowment contracts can make sense. I'm going to touch on what's going on here with this premium reduction as well. But let's touch on this guy. L95 policy, 50x base premium, $1 million payment. So base premium, $20,000. Total payment, $1 million. First year cash value, just about $900,000, $896. We paid in $1 million. We have over a $100,000 hit on our money. Why is the hit so large when the base premium is only $20,000? There's a term rider attached, but that's not that large. It's a little over 10 grand in this example, closer to 15,000 actually. But why? Why is there almost a $100,000 hit? The reason why has to do with the PUA fees that are associated with the policy as well. Now, beginning year 2, what do we notice here? Annual outlay is your actual out-of-pocket. How much do you pay in year 2? If this is you, 0. Over here on the left, $20,000. This is the $20,000 premium that's still due, but you are paying nothing out of pocket. This policy is being paid through the dividends and interest, the earning within the policy. First, it covers the premium, and anything left over comes back to cash value. In fact, let's take a look at the actual illustration here. There's the one I want. 50-year-old male. What do we see here? So here's my term rider. I've got 2 term riders attached here. Large term riders, $7,100, about $7,200, and then $3,000. So the total term rider costs in this example are initially about 10 grand, but both term riders are renewable, so they increase up until year 7. At that point in time, we remove the term riders altogether. But as we look at the breakdown here, $20,000 base premium, $1 million total in, non-MEC. We see nowhere in the illustration that it's a MEC. And if we go back to the MEC example, Guardian likes to make it known if we have a modified endowment contract, which I appreciate, in bold, as illustrated, this policy becomes a modified endowment contract in year 1. So we won't spend any more time on that. Going back to this guy, here we go, the non-MEC. What do we notice here? Oddball death benefit. I squeezed this thing for minimum expenses, which is why I came up with that oddball death benefit. For a 50-year-old male, $15,640,000 gives him a MEC limit of, guess what? Almost a clean $1 million. Touch over $1 million. I didn't want to make it too much of an oddball number like 15,374 or something like that. But we've got a $1 million MEC limit, which means this is the minimum death benefit needed, the minimum amount of life insurance needed to be able to pay up to $1 million per year. So per the IRS standards, we can fund it at $1 million per year, but will the company allow us to do this? Not necessarily with that 20K base premium. We have to raise that to that $100,000 base premium to get to a point where the company is comfortable accepting it year in and year out. But as we look at this, 1 million in, year 2, you pay nothing in. You have a $20,000 base premium that's still due, but again, you're not paying it. Dividends and interest first pay the premium. Everything else comes back to cash value. And you see the earnings based on the dividends outpace it, meaning you're still appreciating. Now you will find if we looked at the guarantees, it would be the reverse, meaning the values would go down until year 8. At that point in time, we exercise what is called a reduced paid up option, which kills the premium altogether. Nothing's due. Even if I want to add more money, I cannot. The advantage to that, however, is all dividends and interest do not need to pay a premium first because it's gone. Instead, they're just kicked back into cash value. That helps grow my long-term death benefit as well. That reduced paid up option, we also remove the term rider at that point in time, does drop the death benefit significantly. So the purpose of this single premium example, the non-MEC, is primarily to see what does it look like If I just want to make a one-time lump sum and I'm done, I have no desire to make payments. Well, here we go. What's in red is the premium still due, but I'm not paying it. And the break even is between years 6 and 7. It's pretty much year 6, really, when you look at it here. Where I've paid in $1 million, I've got $998 and change, so I'm just about there, which is not bad for a single premium policy. Pre-7702 days, or I should say pre-50X limit, I wouldn't necessarily see a single pay break even that early. It would take closer between 9 to 11 years. But that is nice. And if someone's in a situation where they say, hey, here's a $1 million lump sum, and I want to continue to fund it aggressively thereafter, you could make sense of this, but at the same time, something like the next example makes much more sense. And this is where we always like to look at different funding scenarios. But here we've got the same product, same dividend crediting rate, $1 million lump sum, but breaking that up for 4 years. What you'll find, first year cash value, $250 in, got about $207. Next year, I pay in $250. Where's the money going? I've got the $25K base premium, term rider, rest goes toward PUAs, breaking even, close in year 4. Year 5, I don't pay anything in, $1 million total in, have $1 million in cash value. Here's where the 4-pay makes more sense. And on a non-guaranteed standpoint, for 50 years old, a 3-pay would look even better. Personally, I'm more comfortable with the 4-pay though, because of this right here. We've got a premium that's still due, but I'm not paying it. The dividends and interest only need to cover that premium for 3 years now instead of for 6 years. So here's the illustration breakdown. 25K base, there's my PUA payment, of which $1,800 satisfies the term cost. As we check this guy out, you notice over here, 25K base premium, still due, but I'm not paying it. My out-of-pocket is 0. There's my cash value, continues to grow. Chop the death benefit down at year 8 through that reduced paid up option. Back to the Excel sheet. Okay, what do you notice as we compare the values? Break-even point, earliest over here, unless you're looking at the MEC. Right, if you don't need access to cash value, that could work. Nice asset on the balance sheet. Some corporations do that, just to have it positioned as a tier 1 asset. But if you want access to the cash value, this option is much more appealing in many ways. So continues to grow. If we look at the year 20 mark, 1.806 versus over here, 1.955. Almost $150,000 more with the same product, same crediting rate, or same dividend rate, I should say. Everything is exactly the same. Now, on the topic of dividends and crediting rates, the last thing, or one of the points we mentioned, internal rate of return. We've got the annual IRR, which isolates what I'm earning year over year. Here's the advantage to the 50X limitation. I get about 90% of the payment right off the bat. Rich upfront cash values. Versus 1090 with the new PUA fees. Old product wasn't like this. About a negative 17% hit. So that is a trade-off. A lot of people do value the upfront cash value. You could do $1 million here, and then if you said, hey, can I do $200K per year thereafter? You could, and we would measure that. It might make more sense to split the $1 million up over 2 years. That's more of a design topic, which I don't want to ramble too much, otherwise I'll nerd out on that. But my point is, as we look at the IRR, the annual IRR, what's interesting is after year 8, they will all be just about identical after the reduced paid up option. The average IRR is really what I want to look at here. So if we just isolate year 20 again, what do you notice here on the average IRRs? Let's do this real quick just to make this easier. Year 20, what do you notice? Average IRRs. The MEC is the best, but we don't want the MEC in this example. Non-MEC, much better. Or I should say, non-MEC much better, but single pay, non-MEC, much better than the single pay breaking it up over 4 years is much better than single pay. If I could speak this Friday evening, you know where I'm going. So I do see a stronger average internal rate of return. But again, different options here. What's nice about this, we've got the same company, same product. If we're looking at MEC options here, what I would actually look at, depending on the individual situation, is here's the MEC we just looked at, the L95, and then here is the 10-pay policy, which with the 50x PUA limitation is fantastic. Now, Guardian's 10-pay policy, what I don't like about it is from year 2 onward, the maximum PUA is 5x the base premium, whereas all other products are 10x the base premium. So a lot of times it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it does, but we only look at it so often. In this particular case, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I can 50x in the first year. Looks fantastic. Breaks even early, strong internal rates of return, all that fun stuff. And why this premium drops, it's a little trick we like to use here. It's not really a trick. We do a face amount reduction in year 2 to reduce the premium. And then the earliest Guardian will allow us to execute a reduced paid up is year 4 on an illustrative standpoint. We can actually do it year 2. We just can't illustrate it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this case study. I had a ton of fun with it. If you'd like to see some lump sum studies or any type of studies, numbers that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to us anytime. And as always, I hope this helps. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.